We want to be in relationship with the people that God has asked us and designed us to be in relationship with, and that is our church family. Hi, Doug Sharpe, host of the National Leadership Briefing, and this is the Midweek Touchpoint. Well, for those of you who've been on the Touchpoint before, you've heard us mention recently about someone who you're going to need to know on the road ahead, and that person is named Gatekeeper. Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about Gatekeeper today, but I wanted to do it in the context of another conversation that's going on right now here in Canada, something that I'm calling the perfect storm. Now, a perfect storm is a meteorological phenomenon where different things happen, meteorologically speaking, that come together to create an extreme weather event. Now, it's rare, doesn't happen all the time, but you need to have your eyes open for it, because when it happens, it can wreak havoc. For those of you who've been watching the news lately, we've seen what has happened in Texas. They only had a couple of days to prepare for that, but that was a storm that rolled across them and caused extreme damage and loss of life. So we want to be aware of what's happening on the horizon, and the perfect storm, I believe, is brewing here in Canada, is made up of these three components. Okay. First of all, is that we are witnessing here in Canada the government of the day at the federal level that is passing laws that limit your rights as a person of faith. We're watching bills like Bill C6 that are being passed, the conversion therapy bill. This is a law that is going to limit your ability to openly communicate to, for example, your children about issues of gender and sexuality. So there are laws and policies being passed by government to limit your rights. The second component of the perfect storm that I'm seeing brewing here on the horizon here in Canada is with regard to the issue of lockdowns. Now, you haven't heard me talk a lot about lockdowns here on the National Leadership Briefing or on the Midweek Touchpoints, because I really believe that it's up to the individual churches and church leadership and church families to decide how they are responding and engaging on these issues. But I do want to tell you one thing that's really important that I do want to talk about, and that is when a church is closed down and the church family is dispersed and the sense of community and connection is lost, then we as created beings are going to seek out connectivity and community wherever we can, because we're designed to be in community. We're designed to be connected to each other. So the lockdown issue is one thing, but the impact it has on us as individuals, I believe, is becoming more and more obvious. We are not connected as like we were before necessarily to our church families. So we are looking for other communities to be a part of, which brings me to the third part of the perfect storm, the third component where Gatekeeper resides. And that is that we are finding, many of us out there are finding our sense of connection and community in social media platforms and online. And in those environments, we are not the individuals that are in control. They are not our environments that we have created on our own. They may be siloed to look like they're our environments, but they are in fact being controlled by others. And those individuals who control social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and all of these other communities online have individuals called gatekeepers who are there to ensure that you are not stepping out beyond what they consider to be an appropriate sphere of influence or authority. So you're going to find your influence and your authorities checked by Gatekeeper on the road ahead if you are going to plan on staying in relationship in those communities. So this perfect storm that is brewing, again, the government of the day is passing laws and policies that limit your rights as a citizen overall to speak freely and exercise your freedom of religion and right of belief. Your second thing is that the lockdowns are forcing us to disperse as a community, where we will then look for other communities and to get our connection. And then where we find ourselves, thirdly, the third point, in those other communities that we don't control, we're going to find others that are going to decide to what degree we have authority to speak and to act. That's very challenging for us, and we need to have a plan moving forward. So this is what I'm suggesting. First of all, turn around. If you find yourself drifting towards another community, looking for that connectivity, feeling that need to be fulfilled, I encourage you, please turn around and run right back to your church family. Even though we're not able to connect right now face to face, go see your church leadership, your pastor, talk to them, say, I'm feeling out of community. I want more community. Ask for it, demand it. And I'm sure your pastor will help connect you up with other people in your church. But that's where you're going to find the most freedom right now. The second thing is that we can encourage others who we think might be kind of wandering around out there to get into relationship with us. Start finding people that share your views and values and get into community with them in a free and open environment. I don't mean like free face-to-face if that's not possible. I'm talking about make sure you're connecting, whether it's on Zoom calls or where you don't have a gatekeeper in the room that's going to decide what it is you discuss and what it is that you engage in or communicate to each other. So you've got to first run your church family and then find others that you can help and bring them into the fold as well. So that's my encouragement right now, because gatekeeper is out there. And what's going to happen is that if we let this go too long, the storm is going to roll over us. We're going to seek refuge in these communities where social media exists. And then we're going to be caught and bogged down in there with a limited amount of rights and freedoms. And we don't want to be there. We want to be in relationship with the people that God has asked us and designed us to be in relationship with. And that is our church family. So I hope that's helpful to you to know that that perfect storm is brewing on the horizon. I hope it's helpful to you to know that gatekeeper is just waiting to strip you of your rights as you step into these other environments that you don't control. And I hope you'll stay in relationship with me and the rest of the people on the National Leadership Briefing on the Road Ahead, because we want to stand with you in defense of right of belief and freedom of religion, the authority of parents to raise their children the way they want. We want to make sure the government passes laws that protects the vulnerable. And we want to make sure that your children's future is secured by passing good fiscal policy. That's what we're all about. And that's the community that we want to encourage you to be in relationship with, where you can speak openly and freely about all the things that you believe in. Anyway, hope that's helpful. Thanks so much for your attention this week. Thank you again for the opportunity to continue to stay in relationship with you. I'll see you on the next National Leadership Briefing. But in the meantime, God bless you, God bless your family, and may God continue to bless this great nation of Canada. Bye for now.